Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. I hope you're enjoying all the lovely video tutorials, picture tutorials, and all the inspiration that you're getting from our lovely creative team. Now, I thought I'd come in with something a little bit different today, but as soon as I got the new stamps, this little creature, the Thistlewhisk, you know I struggle with names. Tracy, can I have something a bit easy to pronounce next time, please? But look, I mean, isn't he just adorable? I just think he's so lovely. I thought we'd do something a bit different today. Now, I'm stamping on Kraft card, and these is actually we sell at Lavinia 5x5 Kraft card cards and envelopes. But for me, as you know, stamping's my weak point, and I struggle on Kraft card. So, not a problem. I've got my lovely stamping platform here. So, all I'm going to do is pop my Kraft card on this lovely tacky mat, and I'm going to come in with my stamp, and I find it easier and it helps because my stamps are clean just to pop my stamp there, pick it up, and I'm going to come in and ink up with pine cone VersaFine Clay, so it's a permanent ink. You know, I really cannot wait to see what you do with these lovely new designs. I think the way that they are drawn, you know, the detail, honestly, when you stamp them, you know exactly what I mean. Now, I know I can go in, and I probably need to do 2 or 3 goes with this on a Kraft card, but I still like to leave the stamp down to give that ink time to soak in. You see, we've got an image, but it's not quite deep enough, so I'm going to come in again, just with a second lot of ink. Just add a little bit more, and again, just give that ink time to soak in. Yes, I'm happy with that. The detail there is fabulous. So I'm just going to give my stamp a little wipe. And what I'm going to do now is, using our lovely Lavinia masking sheets, look, I've made myself a little mask, and I just put it on the acetate. And I'm just going to add that just to little tummy here. Just because when I stamp the path, I don't want it on his tummy. And this is lovely. It's called the Twilight Passage. And again, I think this is going to be so useful. But I want this to go just sort of, again, I can place it just sort of there. Just check it straight. They remind me of cobbled streets. Do you know, I love that about card making. How many things remind you of places you've been or times you've had. Just creating such lovely memories. Look at that, I love this. So if I just take that off, so can you see we've got that lovely path now around. So I'm happy with that. Now, I like this, but I felt I needed something else around it. So what I did was just got myself a little bit of copy paper, and we've got our fabulous winter foliage, and there's 4 different stamps on here, look. And I've just gone for this one. And I'm just going to give myself a bit of extra shrubbery. So what I'm going to do, we'll have a little bit in the distance here. And because this is in the distance, it's going to be smaller. So I'm masking off, look, and only using the top part. And I've used 2nd and 3rd generation, so it's quite faint, because that will help give a bit of perspective. So we'll add one at the front now. But this, I'm going to put them quite tall, use the whole of the stamp. And mostly 1st generation, a little bit of 2nd, but mostly 1st, so we can tell they're nearer. And then just in the middle, we'll have a little bit here, and that sort of in between. And it's a lovely quick way, look, of extending that design. I love that vintage feel. Now, I've got my Mondeluz pencils. And the most important thing, my kitchen roll to lean on. Now, what I found with the Kraft card is if I add a base coat of white first, the colour almost goes on better. For me, I just found some white first really gives me a base coat then to add more colour on top, and the colours almost sit better. So I'm just coming in with our lovely stones. And again, you will take your time. Now, I tend to keep my pencils in my hand, really just so it's easier for me to use them. But also, I don't like to put them down on my table because I worry they're going to roll on the floor. Right, a little bit of pink just on his nose and his ear, look. And then a little bit of the light brown, just to add a little bit of shape, I'm thinking, under here. But I like that white tummy. And then what I've done with the black, I'm just going to give a little bit of shade, and then just under the shrubbery. And I'm almost going to just extend the design a little bit. So under the shrubbery here, and then just at the edges, look. And at the base, so Tracy's drawn on the stones where you've got that shade. She's put little dots so you know where that shade's going. Look, there we go. And just in the middle of the... And it'll just make those rocks on this passage look more 3D. Like I say, I'm going to do this quite speedily, but I think you could have a lovely afternoon just adding colour. So can you see how that's building up? And then on the umbrella, I've gone for blue. Now, again, you can colour your umbrella, whichever colour. I just thought blue, it contrasted nicely with the Kraft card. So can you see how that's building up? And I love the way that white, and I'm just going to come in and add a little bit more. And just want to follow that down there. Just want a little bit more down his front. I like the fact he has a little white front. Yeah, that's better. I prefer that. So, as I say, you'll spend longer than me and just blend it beautifully. Just going to add a bit more darker in there. I do this, you know. I'm always saying, right, you finished, Joe, and then I'm like, are you still colouring? No, walk away from the pencils. Just for your little finishing tricks and to tie it all together, I'm going to use the Signo, the Uniball. And again, now a few of you have said you have trouble with this working, and what I found is because I lean on my kitchen roll, I find it useful to just dab it on my kitchen roll first. And I found, you know, it's like magic, it works beautifully if I do that. So we'll add some little highlights. And then just his eye, a bit on his nose there, look. And just here to shape that leg, a little bit on his tail. And then what I found is on the stones. So again, if it just stops working, it just means I need to pop it on my kitchen roll. It's almost as though it gets a little bit of the pencil on the nib. And if I just clean it, then it works, look. She says. You know, these things, they work beautifully until you come, as soon as you press record. It's a bit like if we're waiting for a delivery. It doesn't come all day. And as soon as I start doing a video, you can guarantee the doorbell will go. There we go. So just add the highlights exactly where you want. Now, what's I just thinking? The shrubbery here needs a little bit of something. And sometimes it's like with these highlights, I just stand back and have a look. And I just think, bit over here, just to balance, almost sketchy. as though I've done the drawing. Haha, sorry Tracy, if only. So I've gone for my blue, my Posca, and to bring in the blue that's in the umbrella. So for me, I think whatever colour you do your umbrella, it looks nice if, could be sung that, couldn't it? If you just add some little dots, and I'm just going to add a few up here. And for me, it just gives it that cohesive design. It just ties it all together. Now, I think this design, this could be a birthday card, a new home card. I'm going to put one of our lovely sentiment stickers. And I'm going to put walkabout, because do you know what? We're on a little walkabout. But you know, if you added some holly, maybe some mistletoe, this could be a Christmas design. Now, I'm just going to add some white Posca splats, just to add a little bit of something on the Kraft card here. Now, I know not everybody likes the splats, so if you don't, you just leave them off. It's your design. One of the reasons I like to do it is I have one of these watches on, and every time I do this, I get a couple more steps. But shh, don't tell Carl. So, just a few, just to take the whiteness, or the craftiness, I should say, off that card. There we go. I don't want to overcook it. I think that's just enough. And I have to say, I think you could make this 2 or 3 times. You could use different colours, maybe put something at the end here, change the shrubbery up. I mean, again, if you've got certain plants, certain leaves that are at your, wherever you live, you know, you could really make this your own design. And like I say, I really can't wait to see. So there we are on the 5x5, and there, I've just popped it on a 7x7, just to show you. And again, I do find, you know, no two ever look the same. But that's the fun of creating, isn't it? So I can't wait to see what you come up with. Please, honestly, do share. We love to see. We get so excited at Lavinia when we see what you've done with the designs. So have fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. And you take care of yourselves. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.